The Ponte Vecchio is one of Florence's most famous landmarks, but its survival in this historic city can be put down to chance. In the last days of World War II, the German army was ordered to blow up all of Florence's bridges. But this one remains. Why? Because of the actions of one man. Gerhard Wolff had studied in the city as a boy and thought the landmark too important to lose. It just goes to show, you can make all the plans you want, but you can't anticipate everything. Whether it's the Greek crisis, a nuclear issue in Iran, or the global terrorism threat. Our first speaker, Marco Vincenzino, has advised governments on how to react to unforeseen events.
Investors are living in a very complicated world, a very geopolitically unstable world.
The real problem is that with geopolitical risk is that every asset got correlated, so you just have cash or flexible mandates to hedge yourself probably. We like to choose managers that have the ability to go in cash probably and use flexibility in their mandates.
In a geopolitical risk, it's possible to have a rise up of oil and a rise up of gold, I think.
Everything is connected to oil sector and hard commodities and also food and agriculture stock prices. This is our idea about this.
Citywire's own Nisha Long then took to the stage with a strategy for dealing with an altogether different surprise, the dreaded fund manager move. Could the decision of one man impact an entire asset class?
Gross announces to the world that he's leaving PIMCO at the end of September, and this is what happens. Huge amounts of money came out days after he announced that he was leaving. This was the stress test for the asset management industry. It made them nervous, it made me nervous. Could the industry sustain such a move? Could the industry absorb these massive outflows? And surprisingly, it did. But that's why I've called this the gross distortion, as this really is a distortion. Nothing, in fact, to do with economic divergence, but the choice of an individual to have a career change which influenced the flow of assets. So if you're invested in a fund where this happens, what's your immediate allocation decision?
I expected basically that when Bill Gross moved to Janus, he would move quite many assets from PIMCO to Janus. I think that I was quite surprised that the investors moved even to some other asset managers.
We have a few examples of equity fund where the manager we knew already different years for his excellent track record moved to another company or built his own company. Then of course we have no problem and not up to follow him in the new environment, in the new fund house.
Then on Friday, cognitive scientist Dr. Ken Catchpole spoke of his unlikely collaboration with the Ferrari racing team. He told us what the teams we operate in every day could learn from the Formula One pit stop.
The number one thing you don't want to hear in any safety or from any risk manager is, it will never happen here. As soon as you hear that, you know that something's going to go wrong eventually. What I've worked with is this complex pediatric cardiac surgery, where you're taking a tiny baby and who has a life-threatening illness, a congenital heart problem that probably means that they won't live for longer than 6 months. In this process of handing this patient off from surgery to intensive care, you're changing everything. You're changing the whole team, and you're changing all the equipment associated with this, which is all the drugs and all the drips and all the monitoring equipment. And so it's one of those situations where lots of things can go wrong. Multiple specialists doing complex things, complex interfaces, there's time pressure, and they need to do it really accurately. And of course, in a pit stop, they will change 4 wheels, and at that time filled with fuel, in about 6.8 seconds. Human beings are amazing. They can do incredible things.
From saving bridges to saving lives, our speaker program has revealed that the human factor is as important as it is unpredictable. But the saving grace for you as investors is that there is always opportunity in the ebb and flow of global markets. We hope your time here in Florence has enabled you to be in the right place at the right time.